Yeah. Okay. This meeting is being live streamed.
Got it.
Jai. And who would like to sing the Krishna book song?
You.
Okay. Are you sure? I should defer to Daneshwar Prabhu first. Yeah. Okay.
It's okay.
This meeting
You can do it. Looks like your neck beads are undone. Your neck beads are
who would
hanging
like
out
to
or something.
sing the Krishna book song? Thank you
On
for
the-
informing me.
The other side.
Okay. Are you sure? I should offer to actually they broke off the other. Wait a minute, I gotta stop the YouTube. They broke off in the shower the other day, and I just put on these auxiliary ones while I have some new ones soaking in oil.
Oh.
Thank you for telling me. Yeah. Okay. Here's the words to, not that you don't know them, but just I was thinking if we put ourselves on mute, we could sing back, we could sing along with you, or you can just sing it through once as you prefer, Prabhu.
I thought you were leading it.
Oh, only if you
Am
say.
I?
Yeah, if you like.
Okay, I don't mind.
Okay.
Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna, Keshava, Krishna, Keshava. O Lord Krishna, please protect me and maintain me. O Lord Rama, descendant of Raghu, please protect me and maintain me. O Keshava, killer of the Keshi demon, please maintain me.
Jai. So what do you think, Bhavatrini? The other night, it was just you, me, and Krishna Chandra. Krishna Chandra Prabhu is in the hospital right now caring for his mom.
Oh.
Her infection became more serious. So he just wrote me ahead of time to say that, you know, he'll try to get on the phone, but I said, just take care of your mom.
Right. She was doing pretty bad in that last program, and he was trying to take part of the program, and it wasn't good.
I saw. Yeah. And she sounded like she was shouting out in pain.
Yeah, it's really
heart-wrenching. Yeah. And Bhakta Android or Bhaktin Android, would you kindly reveal yourself to us so we know who's participating here? I'm just wondering if it's Turu and Krishna, because he used to come.
Maybe it's Narada Muni.
Looks like the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So what I was going to suggest, Bhavatrini, since Daneshwar Prabhu was not able to attend last time, I have no objections in going back to the beginning of the Song of the Beat, because we only got maybe halfway through that chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So and we could start either halfway through, or we could go back.
What did you do Friday? Didn't you do Nectar of Instruction on Friday? Or Monday?
No,
Monday.
Oh, that was Friday, right?
Right.
Today's Wednesday. Yeah. Okay.
So what do you think if we do a recap for Daneshwar Prabhu, or for all of us? Do you have any objections?
Yeah, because Narihari wasn't able to be here. He's in class. He's just not feeling well, so he's laying down. So he's
and Narihari, he was also taking care of the cows.
Right. He had to go to buy feed.
Yeah. So for his benefit too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah. Do you want to do your? Sorry. Go ahead. Talk to him.
You want us to do the song first?
What do you think, Daneshwar? Do you want to hear the Song of the Beat just to get us in the mood? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. This image I just found, through in Google, and I just saved it. I learned from you, actually. You're the one that trained me up how to do this.
Yeah. But it's nice. What's the other image? Was that Govardhan?
Actually, I collected a whole bunch of them because I love them. I fell in love with them. They're wonderful.
I looked around for different ones, but you come up with some really nice ones.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a few that I did.
Oh. Yamuna. Okay.
Hey, she got, yeah.
Wow.
Let me see.
Here's one.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
This is really pretty.
I want to show.
Enhanced.
Let's see.
Wow. Beautiful.
There's
Oh.
a Madan Mohan Mandir in the background there.
Right.
And this is really pretty too.
Oh.
Just reminds me of where I'd really like to be right now. I was just talking to Dhritarashtra Prabhu, and he was telling me how you have to get the shot, and if it's over a certain period of time, you have to pay so much money. And I mean, if you want to get through all the rigmarole sooner, then you pay like $100 extra, because he just came back. Yeah.
And the other risk is the pilot may have taken the shot and he may die in the middle of the flight, you know?
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know.
Yeah.
These are some this is some art I did for the bumper.
Wow. Love it.
Let's see. Hold that up again.
Yeah.
Hold that up.
This is one, and let's see.
Okay. Radharani and the
This is
Bumblebee.
another version. And
Love it. But you're still going too fast. We don't even have a chance to drink it in.
this is another version. Let's see.
Yeah.
And then that's
Is that some time ago or is this recent?
oh, that's a few days ago.
A few days. The third one you showed is a few days ago. This
Yeah.
one here.
It's just my coloring book picture, and this is from my tarot cards. This one.
Let's see. Wow.
Wow.
Um,
Beautiful.
and I had to, if I can find it real fast. Well, here's a.
How are you feeling in your Hare Prabhu? Are you okay?
For the middle. We shouldn't complain. It's okay.
He's feeling well enough to play the guitar and sing for us, so
Yeah.
that's good.
I don't
That's-
do that, the general.
Is that sounds like it might be an A minor, is it? Or what is it? What are you playing?
Yeah,
E.
it's what is that one? It's an E minor,
Uh-huh.
and I play different.
Here's the coloring book, which you have in the words.
Right.
Like,
It's
Uh-huh.
I was trying to find a coloring book that your ex-wife Akuti colored in before she died. She colored in both of my coloring books,
Oh, really?
and she gave me one.
She did a fantastic
And she gave me
job.
one, and then at her funeral, as you call it, everyone that attended got my coloring books.
She bought actually.
She actually bought my coloring books from me with the
Oh, wow.
intention of giving them away after she died.
Wow. I didn't, the first time I heard that. Thank you.
So,
She stayed at the same floor level as we were, as we had the apartment there. So after, I don't know, my God, 30 years that I hadn't seen her, Patrini says, oh, Akuti is here. And, she was 15 years old when she used to help my sister Bhakta with her kids.
Wow, really? Because I heard she went to Los Angeles when she became a new devotee.
Yeah, so I didn't remember all the stuff, but then she was telling us, that, yeah, she knew my sister very well, and Hanuman, and the kids, her kids, that.
Uh-huh. She said she was serving Jadharani in Los Angeles also.
she was disturbing.
I didn't know that.
This is her version of the,
Wow. Yeah, she's artistic. That's beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
She used to repair all the deity jewelry, and she really liked deity worship.
Yeah, I mean, her colors are so vibrant.
Wow.
Yeah,
She had phenomenal stuff.
so.
Nice meditation before departing.
I don't know if you picked the sound.
Can you
well
hear
enough.
us okay?
Yeah, as long as your lyrics come out above the music, sometimes.
It's a little low fidelity on my speakers, but
Yeah,
not much you can do about that. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. That's. I wish I were there in person. I'm sure it'd be much more rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Sikarani. This is a song.
George Harrison
Sorry.
is playing. If you can imagine, it'll be rich.
Sikarani, is that you? Okay, yeah. So we're reading about Srimati Radharani being visited by Uddhava, and she starts talking to a bee. But actually, Bhavatrini informed us last time that the bee is actually Krishna.
Yes, I think.
And today we learned actually that what happens is that they're resting and at the shore of Prem Sarovar. Sarovar is a lake, and Radharani has her head resting on Krishna's lap, and he's decorating her hair, and her feet, her whole body aroma, we can't even imagine what it'd be like. It drives Krishna crazy. He said that there were so many bees coming in, and so Krishna wanted to, so he calls for Madhu Mangal. Say, Madhu Mangal, you just become a bee, and
Quit being a cowherd boy for right now.
Quit being a cowherd boy, and with all this by his side, he looks at Madhu Mangal. So Madhu Mangal becomes a little bee, and then he shoos all the other ones away, and then he says, "It's done. Madhu Mangal is gone. Madhu Mangal is gone."
Madhu, the name for the bumblebee.
Madhu.
Prabhu, what is the meaning of Madhusudan? Because Krishna is
Madhusudan, it means bumblebee.
But also Madhu.
That's what I was thinking.
Sudan means to kill.
But also, Srinarai Maharaj explained that Madhu is honey.
Yes.
So the Krishna loves to taste the honey from the hearts of the pure devotees. That honey is, as a result of the churning of Ras, or the experience of Ras.
Madhu Sudan also means the killer of the Madhu demon.
Also, yeah.
Yes, I saw.
Also
on internet. Yes.
Yeah. So Madhu Mangal says, Madhu Sudan is gone, Madhu Sudan
forever.
are gone forever.
Back.
And when Radharani hears this, she goes, my Lord Krishna is gone, and she plunges in the notion of separation. So Krishna doesn't know sometimes what to do unless it's a really difficult situation.
Yeah, the thing up higher, but just
Hare Krishna, Shuddha Sindhu, welcome. Obeisances to you.
Welcome.
That's as far as it goes.
Haribo.
We're going to hear Shuddha Sindhu. I don't know if you heard or not, but they're singing the Song of the Bee, the name of this chapter, Brahmara Gita. Srimati Radharani speaking to the bee messenger.
Yeah, okay.
My dear bumblebee, let me warn you, don't touch me. You are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. Krishna kissed us, then he left all together. I don't want any messages from that boy of blue. Krishna is just like you. He cannot be true, my dear bumblebee. Don't touch me. We don't know why one like him has captivated Lakshmi. We are not such fools as she. Our mistake won't be repeated by Krishna and his messenger. We will longer be cheated. Our mistake won't be repeated. You foolish bumblebee, you are trying to satisfy me by singing of Krishna's glories, but to us they are just old stories. All about Krishna we know very well, much more than you could ever tell. Krishna is now in the city, surrounded by women so pretty. If you want to sing of him, then go to them. Bumblebee, don't touch me. Do by Krishna's enchanting words sweet, we can only think of him and constantly weep. Krishna or you, I cannot be me. We gave everything up, only to breathe. Do not speak of him. It gives only pain. Do you think that we can place our faith in him again? Do not speak of him. It gives pain, you foolish bumblebee. You are trying to satisfy me. You're trying to flatter me with words so sweet, trying to place your head under my feet. But I know the trick that you are trying to play. You're the greatest trickster's messenger today. So my dear bumblebee, please leave me. Bumblebee, my dear bumblebee, please leave me. Please leave me. Wait, Bumblebee, come back. Don't tell Krishna I said those things. I didn't mean it.
There is another part.
We read that yesterday.
You read that yesterday.
That's definitely on the top 10 of the Goloka Vrindavan hit parade.
Oh, come on.
As you were singing, I was imagining that you were entertaining Krishna in Nandagram in the evening. You know how Krishna goes and there's so many performers there. So I was thinking like that you were
a nice blessing.
Wow, what a blessing. Wow. Thank you.
Ganeshwar's got the transcendental vision.
Yes.
That was wonderful. Wow. Yeah. You really captured, I mean, in my limited capacity to understand that the complexity of emotions of Srimati Radharani. She's like totally mad for Krishna, and she's expressing this intense love through all this anger, all these different jolpas, right?
Yeah.
And we read yesterday how the bee leaves and she becomes so contrite. And it's so beautiful. We'll read that now. I didn't write the whole song. And one day we were visiting Srila Narayan Maharaj, and he was joking with me. He was translating the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam because Srila Prabhupada didn't finish it. So he was, like Prabhupada left some remnants for him. So he was translating it. And he never finished it, though. He said, when I finish 10th canto, your Bumblebee song will have to be this big.
How far did he get in his translation?
We don't know. We don't know.
Well, right here he translated, actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has a synopsis of Bhagavatam. I forget now the name of the book. So he finished that. He managed to finish that. And so yeah, one day I asked him if I could translate, these books, and he said, "Yeah, but you wait till I'm done with. I do Srimad Bhagavatam, but that." And now all we have is actually those 5 chapters of Rasa Dance, Panchagali, that he translated to with the commentaries of Sripad.
Sridhar Maharaj, Vishwanath
Chakravarti, Jiva Goswami, and then the last one is his commentary on it.
So did he continue from where Prabhupada left off, or did he go right back to the beginning?
No. He was going to continue, but
from Brahma Vimohan Leela, that's where Prabhupada completed.
That's one. Yeah.
So he started there.
Yeah.
And he would explain it all in such detail.
And you have no idea where he ended.
No.
Okay, was any of it published?
Yeah.
That's what I don't know. I need to find out from our God brothers. Maybe
I'll ask Tridandi Maharaj. I could ask him right now. He's right here.
Yeah. Oh, Jai,
really?
Please.
I got him on the hotline.
Oh, okay.
I talk to him daily. It's wonderful. He was telling me all about the process of deity work.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that's fantastic. I have to say that I noticed the change. Today, Bhagavad Maharaj's son spoke. Oh my God.
Do you know
Nrisingha is just the tip of the old block, even better.
Oh, really?
I don't know that to Bhagavad Maharaj. But fantastic. He understood all the conceptions of Guru Tattva so well.
Everyone was speaking on some Vani that Srila Narayan Maharaj was teaching, and he was speaking on humility.
But he understood the concept of actually Shabda Brahma. What is Shabda Brahma? Actually, it's a true scripture that when it comes through the mouth of a pure devotee. And so, people, he said, people ask, what did you quote that? What is the quote? And he said, the quote is the pure devotee. Actually, when they speak scripture, that's Shabda Brahma.
Nice.
We can read the same thing, and he won't get that unless he goes through the mouth of the pure devotee. That's one real thing, real magic.
I was asked to speak at Cornell University a couple of years back. I was in Rochester. Actually, I had seen Sika giving a little talk there, and then I thought, gee, I was reading here in Yogeshwar Prabhu's book, The Swami in a Strange Land. I think was that the title of it. And it was reminding me that there was a professor at Cornell University, which is in Ithaca, just an hour and a half drive from where Shikarani is. So I thought, well, why don't I go there? Maybe I can, meet that professor that gave a glowing report on Prabhupada's, I think, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anyway, I just looked up in the syllabus if anyone was teaching Hinduism, and I saw that someone was teaching music and world religions. So I contacted them, and it was a cellist. She was in her 6th year of studying to be a professor, going for her 7th year to get a PhD. And she said, oh, how fortuitous. We're studying Hinduism and music and Hinduism right now. And I said, oh, what are you studying about that? She said, oh, we were studying about Shabda Brahma and the Bhakti Ratnakar. Bhakti Ratnakar, no, excuse me, not Bhakti Ratnakar, but the something Ratnakar. It's about ragas and mudras and Bharatnatyam. And I thought, gee, I wish I would have studied that when I was 5 years old. But I'm not even sure if I made the excellent point that Nrisingha Prabhu made, that Shabda Brahma, I just explained it's transcendental sound vibration. It's coming from the Lord. But that's an excellent point, that it's as pure as that pure devotee is that's transmitting that Shabda Brahma. And that's why we have here. Yeah.
That's why we hear, right?
Yeah, and we learn the name. Another name for Krishna is the devotee of his devotees. So
Vedavati is here. Welcome, Vedavati. Hare Krishna, God's sister. Thank you very much for coming. Yes, sorry in your hurry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Please finish.
No, it was that he has a Sanskrit name. I believe it's Bhakti Krit, that he is the devotee of his devotees.
Yeah, that's one of Krishna's prominent names.
Bhakta Krit.
Bhakti, Bhakta Bhakti Krit.
He's the
Bhakta
bhakta of his devotees.
Bhakta Bhakti.
Yeah.
Bhakta Bhakti. Yeah. Bhakta
That's a
Bhakti.
beautiful name. It sounds a little bit like Peter Piper picked a pickle.
So we just
So
sang,
like we hear, Prabhupada always tells us right through all the readings we've been doing that
wait,
how to capture Krishna in your, you know. The
this
Gopis
is
have
off
captured-
topic, but we just sang Bumblebee, and I wish you'd sung with us.
Oh, but
Thank
yeah.
you. Beautiful
We used to
song.
sing together in a band.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Maybe we can do a reprise of it at the end. A
Oh,
couple of bars or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so great. Thank you so much for coming, Vedavati. We've been waiting, wondering when you're going to return again. So, all right.
Thanks
So
for your patience.
yes, yeah, no, but it says there's a Bengali proverb that pomegranates, chestnuts, and other precious fruits take time to ripen, but they're worth waiting for.
Oh, so
Oh.
sweet.
yeah, yeah.
So here's the chapter title, 10th Canto, Srimad Bhagavatam Krishna book, chapter 47, the Song of the Bee, the Brahmara Gita.
Yeah, we can see that.
And here, okay,
Chapter
so
10?
Nirhari, we don't know exactly how long you're going to last for. I hate to say that, but I know you were
Looking for his glasses. He'll be
Let's
right
see
back.
what I last on.
Okay, we'll see how long he lasts. Here he goes.
Yeah, so maybe you should be the first, you and Bavatrini be the first to read, and then we'll go through the disciplic succession here. After that is Daneshwar, then Shuddha Sindhu, then Vedavati.
Okay, should I begin?
Yes, please.
46, delivery of the message of Krishna to the Gopis. When the Gopis saw Uddhava, they observed that his features almost exactly resembled the features of Krishna, and they could understand that he was a great devotee of Krishna's. His hands were very long, and his eyes were, I think they mean the arms, but anyhow. His hands were very
Right.
long. His eyes were just like the petals of lotus flower. He was dressed in yellow colored garments and wore a garland of lotus flowers. His face was very beautiful. Having achieved the liberation of Swarupya and having the same bodily features as the Lord, Uddhava looked almost like Krishna. In Krishna's absence, the Gopis had been coming dutifully to visit Mother Jashoda's house early in the morning. They knew that Nanda Maharaj and Mother Jashoda were always grief-stricken, and they had made it their first duty to come and pay their respects to the most exalted elderly personalities of Vrindavan. Seeing the friends of Krishna, Nanda and Jashoda would remember Krishna himself and be satisfied, and the Gopis also would be pleased by seeing Nanda and Jashoda.
Keep going.
Okay. When the Gopis saw that Uddhava was representing Krishna, even in his bodily features, they thought that he must be a soul completely surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They began to contemplate, who is this boy who looks just like Krishna? He has the same eyes like lotus petals and the same raised nose and beautiful face, and he's smiling in the same way. In all respects, he's resembling Krishna Shamasundar, the beautiful dark boy. He's even dressed exactly like Krishna. Where has his body come from?
Where's this boy?
This boy come from? Sorry, who's the boy? sorry. Where has this boy come from? Who is the fortunate girl who has him for her husband? Thus, they all talked among themselves. They were very anxious to know about him, and because they were simply unsophisticated village girls, they surrounded Uddhava.
So that's the painting there, if you want to meditate on that for a moment.
Wow.
Uddhava meeting with all the Gopis.
Do you know anything about the painting?
No, I tried to find out. I'd have to dig deeper. Bavatrini, you want to take over?
Sure. When the Gopis understood that Uddhava had a message from Krishna, they became very happy and called him to a secluded place to sit down. They wanted to talk with him very freely and did not want to be embarrassed before unknown persons. They began to welcome him with polite words and great submissiveness. We know that you are a most confidential associate of Krishna and that he has therefore sent you to Vrindavan to give solace to his father and mother. We can even understand that family affection is very strong. Even great sages who have taken to the renounced order of life cannot give up family members. Krishna has therefore sent you to his father and mother. Otherwise, he has no further business in Vrindavan. He is now in town. You moved it and I lost my place.
Yeah, where were
Sorry.
Did you went
He
too
moved
far?
it. No, it's not too far. I'm just having trouble.
I just made the screen bigger.
You just made, okay. He is now in town. What does he have to know about Vrindavan village or the cows' pasturing grounds? These things are not at all useful for Krishna because now he is a man in the city. Surely he has nothing to do with persons who do not happen to be his family members. Why should one bother about those who are outside the family, especially and specifically those who are attached as the wives of others? Krishna is interested in them as long as there's a need for gratification, like the bumblebees who have interest in the flowers, as long as they want to take the honey out of them. It is very natural and psychological that a prostitute does not care for her partner her paramour, as soon as he loses his money. Similarly, when the citizens find that a government is incapable of giving them full protection, they leave the country. A student, after finishing his education, gives up his relationship with the teacher and the school. And a rich man, after taking his reward from his worshiper, gives him up. When the fruit season is over, the birds are no longer interested in the tree. Just after eating in the house of a lord, the guest gives up his relationship with the host. After a forest fire, when there is a scarcity of green grass, the deer and other animals give up the forest. And so a man, after enjoying his girlfriend, gives up his connection with her. In this way, all the gopis began to indirectly accuse Krishna by citing so many similes. Uddhava understood that the gopis of Vrindavan were all simply absorbed in the thought of Krishna and his childhood activities. While talking about Krishna with Uddhava, they forgot all about their household business. They even forgot about themselves as their interest in Krishna increased more and more.
Dineshwar Prabhu.
Okay, my request is that you don't scroll it while I'm reading. Wait till I get to the bottom and then move. Okay. Yeah. One of the gopis, namely Srimati Radharani, was so much absorbed in thoughts of Krishna by dint of her personal touch with him that she actually began to talk with a bumblebee, which was flying there and trying to touch her lotus feet. While another gopi was talking with Krishna's messenger, Uddhava, Srimati Radharani took that bumblebee to be a messenger from Krishna and began to talk with it as follows. Bumblebee, you are accustomed to drinking honey from the flowers, and therefore you have preferred to be the messenger of Krishna, who is of the same nature as you. I have seen your mustache, on your mustache, the red powder of kumkum, which was smeared on the flower garland of Krishna while he was pressing the breast of some other girl who is my competitor. I can't see it.
Yeah, competitor.
Who is my competitor. You are feeling very proud by touching that flower, and your mustaches have become reddish. You have come here carrying a message for me. You are anxious to touch my feet. But, my dear bumblebee, let me warn you, don't touch me. I don't want any messages from your unreliable master. You are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. You are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that you are the unr be that Srimati Radharani purposely addressed the bumblebee sarcastically in order to criticize the messenger Uddhava. Indirectly, Srimati Radharani saw Uddhava not only resembling Krishna's bodily features, but as being equal to Krishna. In this way, she indicated that Uddhava was as unreliable as Krishna himself. Srimati Radharani wanted to give specific reasons why she was dissatisfied with Krishna and his messenger. Somebody's making noise there.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Please mute yourself if you're making noise. Okay, Shruti Sindhu, please.
Okay, can you scroll up a bit? Yeah. She addressed the bumblebee. Your master Krishna is exactly of your quality. You sit down on a flower, and after taking a little honey, you immediately fly away and sit in another flower and taste. You're just like your master Krishna. He gave us the chance of tasting the touch of his lips and then left altogether. I know also that the goddess of fortune Lakshmi, who is always in the midst of the lotus flower, who is constantly engaged in Krishna's service, but I do not know why she has become so captivated by Krishna. She is attached to him, although she knows his actual character. As far as we are concerned, we are more intelligent than that goddess of fortune. We are not going to be cheated anymore by Krishna or his messengers. According to expert opinion Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune is a subordinate expansion of Srimati Radharani. As Krishna has numerous expansions of Vishnu Murtis, so his pleasure potency Radharani also has innumerable expansions of goddesses of fortune. Therefore, the goddess of fortune Lakshmi Ji is always anxious to be elevated to the position of the Gopis.
Okay, Vedavati.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay. Srimati Radharani continued, you foolish bumblebee, you are trying to satisfy me and get a reward by singing the glories of Krishna, but it is a useless attempt. We are bereft of all our possessions. We are away from our homes and families. We know very well about Krishna. We know even more than you. So whatever you make up about him will be old stories to us. Krishna is now in the city and is better known as the friend of Arjuna. He now has many new girlfriends, and they are no doubt very happy in association with him. Because the lusty burning sensation of their breasts has been satisfied by Krishna, they are now happy. If you go there and glorify Krishna, they may be pleased to reward you. You are just trying to pacify me by your behavior as a flatterer, and therefore you have put your head under my feet. But I know the trick which you are trying to play. I know that you are a messenger coming from a great trickster, Krishna. Therefore, please leave me. I can understand that you are very expert in reuniting two opposing parties, but at the same time, you must know that I cannot place my reliance upon you, nor upon your master Krishna. We left our families, husbands, children, and relatives only for Krishna, but yet he did not feel any obligation in exchange. He has left us for lost. Do you think we can place our faith in him again? We know that Krishna cannot be long without the association of young women. That is his nature. He is finding difficulty in Mathura because he is no longer in the village among innocent cowherd girls. He is in the aristocratic society, must be feeling difficulty in making friendships with the young girls. Perhaps you have come here to canvass again or to take us there. But why should Krishna expect us to return there? He is greatly qualified to entice all other girls, not only in Vrindavan or Mathura, but all over the universe. His wonderfully enchanting smile is so attractive and the movement of his eyebrows so beautiful that he can call for any woman from the heavenly middle of Plutonic planets. Mahalakshmi, the greatest of all goddesses of fortune, also hankers to render him some service. In comparison to all these women of the universe, what are we? We are very insignificant.
Thank you. Rasangi, are you available to read, or are you in the driving mode right now? Because you're next. Otherwise,
I'm driving. I'll be home soon.
okay. So then let us know when you get home. Otherwise, it's Sikarani's turn now.
Okay, thanks.
Krishna advertises himself as very magnanimous, and he is praised by great saints. His qualifications could be imperfectly utilized if he would only show us mercy, because we are downtrodden and neglected by him. Your poor messenger, you are only a less intelligent servant. You do not know much about Krishna, how ungrateful and hard-hearted he has been, not only in this life, but in his previous lives also. We have all heard this from our grandmother, Purnamasi. She has informed us that Krishna was born in a Kshatriya family previous to this birth and was known as Ramachandra. In that birth, instead of killing Vali, an enemy of his friend, in the manner of a Kshatriya, he killed him just like a hunter. A hunter takes a secure hiding place and then kills an animal without facing it. So Lord Ramachandra as a Kshatriya should have fought with Vali face to face, but instigated by his friend, he killed him from behind a tree. Thus he deviated from the religious principles of a Kshatriya.
So there's a Purnamasi deity there on the left from the Yoga Maya temple in Vrindavan. Did anyone go there to visit her?
I haven't been there in ever.
Not
I have
the
been
one
to
in Goa.
Vrindavan, but I don't remember if
I went there. Yeah,
Yes, within.
I went there
It's
once
next
on
door
a
to
festival.
Sevakunj.
It was a festival day, and I actually went there with Tree Dundee's widow,
Okay.
Mala. Yeah.
Oh. And does anyone know why? I looked it up, but I forget it. Why? Wow, I don't want to make Srimati Radharani wrong, but we see in the middle painting and the one on the right of Lord Ramachandra hiding behind the tree, and he's going to he shoots Vali. So why was Krishna actually not being irreligious? Although she's accusing him of being irreligious for shooting him in the back like that.
But you said that it's stated that he's not irreligious. There was some reason. But Radharani, in many times, she speaks against Krishna and says things that out of love. She says things that aren't materially speaking correct.
And madness. Madness. Madness, right? And
Man, yes, and madness.
Right.
So I think there was a boon to Bali that he would not be killed by anyone. That's why his brother was also not able to kill him. There was something. Otherwise, he would not have to do that.
Right.
Yes.
So he's Maryada.
So there was something to relieve him of it being an irreligious activity, some circumstance or some statement. Yeah. But I'm not a scholar. I didn't know how to look it up.
Yeah. Why did Lord Ram kill Vali from behind a tree?
Yeah. Oh my God. So Vali got a boon from Lord Brahma that whoever is Vali's opponent would always lose half of his strength, and that would go to Vali. Wow. That's the reason. I remember there was a boon, which was like kind of a big boon. But yeah, this is what it was.
So that's the answer?
Yes. So basically, if Rama comes to face Bali, half of strength of Rama would go to Bali. That was the boon which Bali had, that half of the strength of the opponent would come to Bali itself. So just imagine the strength of Rama and that half strength going to Bali.
Okay. So something something in that situation frees him from being irreligious, but we haven't found it yet.
I have found it. I'm having it here on hand. So, so it's stated in the Valmiki's Ramayan Vali, when he is hit by Lord Rama's arrow, which is capable of rending the earth, falls in pain, and he looks around and sees Lord Rama coming there with a smile on his face. In a fit of rage amidst his agony, he says, "I thought you were a virtuous person. How could you have done such a vicious act? I think it is because of your association with this vicious person, Sugriva, that you have also become spoiled." Lord Rama smiled and he says, "Oh, Vali, it seems that with the deterioration of the body, even the intelligence gets deteriorated." Wow, that's quite a comeback. As you get old, even your intelligence deteriorates. You're accusing me of immorality without understanding the intricacies of Dharma. Lord Rama further says that I am the servant of Bharat, who is currently the ruler of the world. Lord Rama's consciousness can be seen here. He is not saying I am God. He is saying I'm the servant of his own younger brother, who is the king, and I am serving on his behalf. So he says, as a member, as the servant of the king, and the member of the royal Kshatriya class, it is my duty to protect the virtuous and to punish the unrighteous or the vicious. You, O monkey, have for no reason whatsoever grievously wronged your faithful younger brother Sugriva. Although there was no fault of his, you attacked him, you insulted him, you exiled him, and you threatened to take his very life. Not only that, you even took up his own wife as your wife. And because of this, you are an aggressor, an atatai. Atatai. Am I saying that correctly, Sikarani? Atatai?
Yes.
An aggressor. In the Vedic scriptures, it is described that persons coming as an aggressor with the malevolent intention, he deserves to be killed. And there is no sin in killing such a person by whatever means. So if somebody comes to kill, somebody comes to abduct one's wife to exploit and abuse her, somebody comes to steal away one's property, somebody tries to destroy one's property with arson, in all these cases, the aggressor can be killed, not just by anyone, but by the Kshatriyas, by those who are meant to be upholders of law, and they incur no sin for killing such aggressors, such as the policemen. When they arrest and execute criminals who are serial killers, they get no punishment by law for doing so. The Kshatriyas are like the policemen, and atatai are like the criminals. So Lord Rama says that because you, for no good reason, wrong your brother so viciously, it is my duty to kill you, to give justice to your brother, and that is why I've killed you. This is the first and foremost reason. Does that answer everybody's question?
Yeah.
Prabhupada quotes this in a letter. Vasughosh Prabhu, he writes it because there's two situations where the temple, I think in Mumbai, there were other temples that were being attacked, and Prabhupada said, you must form a group of 10 men. They should know the art of defending, and they can use full force.
Wow. Similarly, I met a fire chief. I went to a naturopathic clinic the other day, and he said, if they come, he said, I've got guns on my property. He said, if they come to jab me with their jab, there's going to be a lead party. He said, I'll be taking a few people down with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked his Kshatriya spirit. And his wife said, but honey, what about the grandchildren? And he said, just take them away when I'm shooting.
When I'm busy.
This is the kind of leader I'm looking for.
So yeah, and defending, see that, that's what Prabhupada said. We're not pacifists. We're actually we follow Vedic law.
Right.
Devotees we're not wimps. We're not going, in the name of peace, let me. Becomes an aggressor, and you said, oh, let me embrace you. I'll change. That's when I was 18, and like that, all my my friends and like that were on to no war, etc. Of course,
right.
There were reasons, but non-violence was one of the things very big in the 60s. And
let's get back to the story.
Yes. So either Bhavatrini or yourself, Nuri, how do you approve?
Also, he was so attracted by the beauty of Sita that he converted Surpanaka, the sister of Ravan, into an ugly woman by cutting off her nose and ears. Surpanaka proposed in an intimate relationship with him, and as a Kshatriya, he should have satisfied her. But he was so selfish that he could not forget Sita Devi and converted Surpanaka into an ugly woman. Before that birth, as a Kshatriya, he took his birth as a Brahman boy known as Vamana Dev and asked charity from Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was so magnanimous that he gave him whatever he had. Yet Krishna asked Vamana Dev and gratefully arrested him just like a crow and pushed him down to the Patala kingdom. We know all about Krishna and how ungrateful he is, but here is the difficulty. In spite of his being so cruel and hard-hearted, it is very difficult for us to give up talking about him. Not only are we unable to give up this talk, but great sages and saintly persons are also engaged in talking about him. We Gopis of Vrindavan do not want to make any more friendships with this blackish boy, but we do not know how we shall be able to give up remembering and talking about his activities. Shall I continue? Or?
As you like, you or Baba Trini.
Since Krishna is absolute, his so-called unkind activities are as relishable as his kind activities. Saintly persons and great devotees like the Gopis cannot give up Krishna in any circumstances. Lord Chaitanya therefore prayed, Krishna, you are free and independent in all respects. You can either embrace me or crush me under your feet, whatever you like. You may make me brokenhearted by not letting me see you throughout my whole life, but you are my only object of love.
In my opinion, Srimati Radharani continued, one should not hear about Krishna. Because as soon as a drop of the nectar of his transcendental activities is poured into the ear, one immediately rises above the platform of duality, attraction, and rejection. Being completely freed from the attraction of material attachment, one gives up the attachment for this material world, family, home, wife, children, and everything which is materially dear to every person. Being depossessed of all material acquisitions, one makes his relatives and himself unhappy. Then he wanders in search of Krishna, either as a human being or in other species of life, even as a bird. It's very difficult to actually understand Krishna, his name, his quality, his form, his pastime, his paraphernalia, and his entourage.
Dinesh for Prabhu. Wait a minute, I'm gonna make this a little bit, sorry, I've made this little, I'm trying to see how to bring the photo down. Can you still see the photo?
Yes.
Yeah, you can see all of it. Bring the text up. Your screen is different than my screen. I don't see as much text as you do.
Okay. Anyway, I think you see most of it.
Okay.
Yes?
All right. Srimati Radharani continued to speak to the black messenger of Krishna. Please do not talk any more about Krishna. It is better to talk about something else. We are already doomed, like the black spotted she deer in the forest, who are enchanted by the sweet musical vibration of the hunter. In the same way, we have been enchanted by the sweet words of Krishna. And again, we are thinking of the rays of the nails of his toes. We are becoming more and more lustful for his association. Therefore, I request you do not talk of Krishna anymore. This talk of Radharani with the bumblebee messenger and her accusing Krishna, and at the same time, her inability to give up talking about him, are the symptoms of the topmost transcendental ecstasy called Mahabhava. The Ecstatic Mahabhava manifestation is possible only in the persons of Radharani and her associates. Continue.
As you like.
Great acharyas like Srila Rupa Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have analyzed these Mahabhava speeches of Srimati Radharani, and they have described the different sentiments such as udghurna, bewilderment, and jalpa pratijalpa, talking in different ways. In Radharani is found the science of Ujjvala, or the brightest jewel, or love of God. While Radharani was talking with the bee, and the bee was flying hither and thither, it all of a sudden disappeared from her sight. She was in full mourning due to separation from Krishna, and was feeling ecstasy by talking with the bee. But as soon as the bee disappeared, she became almost mad, thinking that the messenger bee must have returned to Krishna to inform him all about her talking against him. Krishna must have been very sorry to hear it, she thought. In this way, she was very much overwhelmed with another type of ecstasy. Next.
Hey, I'm back if you want me to read.
Yes, please,
This is awesome. This is very high, though. What are we reading from again?
This is Krishna book, chapter 47, the Brahmara Gita.
Brahmara Gita, yeah. All right. So, in the meantime, the bees flying hither and thither appeared before her again. She thought Krishna is still kind to me, in spite of the messenger carrying disruptive messages. He is so kind that he has again sent the bee to take me to him. Srimati Radharani was very careful this time not to say anything against Krishna. My dear friend, I welcome you, she said. Krishna is so kind that he has again sent you. Krishna is so kind and affectionate to me that he has sent you back. Fortunately, in spite of your carrying my message against him, my dear friend, you can ask from me whatever you want. I could have to move it up. I shall give you anything because you are so kind upon me. You have come to take me to Krishna because he is not able to come here. He is surrounded by new girlfriends in Mathura, but you are a tiny creature. How can you take me there? How will you be able to help me in meeting Krishna while he is taking rest there along with the goddess of fortune and embracing her to his chest? Never mind. Let us forget these things about my going there or sending you. Please let me know how Krishna is faring in Mathura. Tell me if he still remembers his foster father, Nanda Maharaj. Oops, a little bit higher. His affectionate mother, Jasoda, his coward friends, and his poor friends like us, the Gopis. I am sure that he must sometimes sing about us. We served him just like maidservants without any payment. Is there any possibility that Krishna will again come back and place his arms around us? His limbs are always fragrant with the aguru scent. Please put all these inquiries to Krishna. Did you know that Nuri Hari and Baba Trini sang to a whole Zoom call of maybe 60 people, the bee song today in honor of Srila Narayan Maharaj's Tirobhav. It was amazing.
Yeah, we heard that earlier.
They were so impassioned. I've never heard them sing it in a passionate way. It was so heartfelt. Baba,
we just sang it again.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.
That was the song that they made up, and And then Ryan Maharaj loved it and said, it's going to grow bigger and bigger when I finish my my commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam.
It's a bumblebee song, right?
Yeah, it was so amazing. Maybe they'll sing it for us again. Thank you so much.
I hear Raghavendu Prabhu's voice there. Could he please be the next reader?
I know, but he's eating. He's not going to read, I don't think. He's eating. Maybe when he finishes.
After he finishes honoring prasadam, okay?
All right, after you finish, I would like you to read. It's okay, Jai. I'll mute now.
Just finish this last slide because it's only one sentence, Rasangi.
Okay, let me see. It's so little. It's on my, the pictures take up more space now. Overwhelmed with the sentiments of love and separation from Krishna, Srimati Radharani remembered the many intimate moments she had shared with him in the groves of Vrindavan.
So here's a famous painting that actually shows Uddhava coming amongst the gopis to read Krishna's letter to them. And Shuddha Sindhu, it's your turn.
Wow, that's beautiful.
After you, Shuddha Sindhu, it's Vedavati, then Shikarani, okay? So everyone knows.
Wow.
Okay. Uddhava was standing near and he heard Radharani talking in this way, as if she had become almost mad after Krishna. He was exceedingly surprised at how the gopis were accustomed to think of Krishna constantly in the topmost ecstasy of Mahabhav love. He had brought a message in writing from Krishna, and now he wanted to present it before the gopis just to pacify them. He said, "My dear gopis, your mission of human life is now successful. You are all wonderful devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you are eligible to be worshipped by all kinds of people. You are worshipable throughout the three worlds because your minds are wonderfully absorbed in the thought of Vasudeva Krishna. He is the goal of all kinds of pious." Can you scroll up a bit? Pious activities and ritualistic performances, such as giving in charity, rigidly following the austerity of vows, undergoing severe penances, and igniting the fire of sacrifice. He is the purpose behind the chanting of different mantras, the reading of the Vedas, controlling the senses, and concentrating the mind in meditation. There are some of the many different processes for self-realization and attainment of perfection of life, but actually they are only meant for realizing Krishna and dovetailing oneself in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the last instruction of Bhagavad Gita also, although there are descriptions of different kinds of processes of self-realization at the end of Krishna. Recommended one should give up everything and simply surrender unto him. All other processes are meant for teaching one how to surrender ultimately unto the lotus feet of Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita also says that this surrendering process is completed by a sincere person executing the processes of self-realization in wisdom and austerity after many births.
Vedavati, would you like to continue?
Satisfaction of such austerity was completely manifest in the life of the gopis. Buddha was fully satisfied. My dear gopis.
We can't actually hear you. Your voice is gone. There's a bad connection. I'm sorry. Sikarani, could you continue, please? Because your voice is breaking up badly.
Okay.
Sorry, Vedavati.
It's okay. It's all right.
Sikarani, please continue. Sikarani?
I think she left.
Oh.
She left.
Oh, I guess she did. All right. So back to me, I guess. All right. Since the perfection of such austerity was completely manifested in the life of the Gopis, Uddhava was fully satisfied upon seeing their transcendental position. He continued to say, "My dear Gopis, the mentality which you have developed in relationship with Krishna is very, very difficult to attain. Even for great sages and saintly persons, you have attained the highest perfectional stage of life. It is a great boon for you that you have fixed your mind upon Krishna and have decided to have Krishna only, giving up your family, home, relatives, husbands, and children for the sake of the Supreme Personality. Because your mind is now fully absorbed in Krishna, the Supreme Soul, universal love is automatically developed in you. I think myself very fortunate that I have been favored by your grace to see you in this situation." When Uddhava said that he had a message from Krishna, the Gopis were more interested in hearing the message than in hearing about their exalted position. They did not very much like being praised for their high position. They showed their anxiety to hear the message which Uddhava had brought from Krishna. Uddhava said, "My dear Gopis, I am especially deputed to carry this message to you, who are such great and gentle devotees. Krishna has specifically sent me to you because I am his most confidential servitor." Nirhari Prabhu?
Unmute. Okay. The written message which Uddhava brought from Krishna was not delivered to the Gopis by Uddhava, but he personally read it before them. The message was very gravely written, so that not only the Gopis, but all the empiric philosophers might understand how pure love of God is intrinsically integrated with all different energies of the Supreme Lord. From Vedic information it is understood that the Supreme Lord has multi-energies, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Sruyate. Also, the Gopis were such intimate personal friends of Krishna that while he was writing a message for them, he was much moved and could not write distinctly. Uddhava, as the student of Brihaspati, had very sharp intelligence, so instead of handing over the written message, you have an arrow over, I don't know if there is he thought it wise to read it personally and explain it to them.
Here's the punchline. Here's the punchline for the whole chapter.
Buddha continued, "These are the words from the personality of Godhead. My dear Gopis, my dear friends, please know that separation between ourselves is impossible at any time, at any place, or under any circumstances, because I am all pervading."
Trini.
But that's what he said to them when they came to the Rasa dance and they got really mad. Okay, this the pervasiveness of Krishna is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, both in the 9th and 7th chapters. Krishna is all pervasive in his impersonal features. Everything is resting in him, but he is not personally present everywhere. In the 7th chapter also, it is stated that the 5 gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, and sky, and the 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, and ego, are all his inferior energies. But there's another superior energy which is called the living entity. The living entities are also directly part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the source of both the material and spiritual energies. He is always intermingled with everything as cause and effect. Not only the Gopis, but all living entities are always inseparably connected with Krishna in all circumstances. The Gopis, however, are perfectly and thoroughly in cooperation in their relationship with Krishna.
whereas the living entities under the spell of Maya or forgetful of Krishna, they think themselves as separate affinities having no connection with Krishna. Scroll.
I did.
Gora,
Gora?
where'd you go?
Gora?
Yes, I did. I'm here.
All right.
You
Okay.
can't read that?
No,
Love of-
you're
I
spreading
can
to see
now.
more than we do.
Scrolled it. Now I can. Love of Krishna or Krishna consciousness is therefore the perfectional stage of real knowledge and understanding things as they are. Our minds can never be vacant. The mind is constantly occupied with some kind of thought, and the subject matter of such thought cannot be outside the 8 elements of Krishna's energy. One who knows this philosophical aspect of all thoughts is actually a wise man, and he surrenders unto Krishna. The gopis are the typical example of this perfectional stage of knowledge. They are not simple mental speculators. Their minds are always in Krishna.
The mind is nothing but the energy of Krishna. Actually, any person who can think, feel, act, and will cannot be separated from Krishna. But the stage in which one can understand his eternal relationship is called Krishna consciousness. The diseased condition in which he cannot understand his eternal relationship with Krishna is the contaminated stage, or Maya. Since the gopis are on the platform of pure transcendental knowledge, their minds are always filled with Krishna consciousness. For example, as there is no separation between fire and air, so there is no separation between Krishna and the living entities. When the living entities forget Krishna, they are not in their normal condition. As for the gopis, because they are always thinking of Krishna, they are on Gora, the absolute stage of perfection of knowledge. The so-called empiric philosophers sometimes think that they are on the path of bhakti, or sometimes think that the path of bhakti is meant for the less intelligent. But unless the so-called man of knowledge comes to the platform of bhakti, his knowledge is certainly impure and imperfect. Actually, the stage of perfecting one's eternal relationship with Krishna is love in separation. But that is also illusory because there is no separation. The gopis were never separated from Krishna. Even from the philosophical point of view, there was no separation.
Shri Sindhu?
The cosmic manifestation is also not separate from Krishna. Nothing is separate from me. The whole cosmic manifestation is resting on me and is not separate from me. Before the creation, I was existing. This is confirmed in the Vedic literature. Before creation, there was only Narayan. There were no Brahma and no Shiva as assistant. The whole cosmic manifestation is manipulated by the 3 moods of material nature. Brahma is the incarnation of the quality of passion. It is said that Brahma created this universe, but Brahma is the secondary creator. The original creator is Narayan. This is also confirmed by Sankaracharya, Narayanaha Paro Vyata. Narayan is transcendental beyond this cosmic creation.
Sangi, you, and then if Raghavendu Prabhu is interested, he can also read if he likes. Or if he's not eating, I mean.
Let's see, he's almost finished. Okay, so where did we that Krishna creates, maintains, and annihilates all cosmic manifestation by expanding himself in different incarnations. Everything is Krishna, and everything is depending on Krishna, but he is not perceived in the material energy. Material energy is called Maya, or illusion. In the spiritual energy, however, Krishna is perceived at every step in all circumstances. Wow. The perfectional stage of understanding is present in the gopis. As Krishna is always aloof from the cosmic manifestation, although it is completely dependent on him, so is a living entity also completely aloof from his material conditioned life. Material body has developed on the basis of spiritual existence. In the Bhagavad Gita, the whole cosmic manifestation is accepted as the mother of the living entities and Krishna as the father. As the father impregnates the mother by injecting a living entity within the womb, so all the living entities are injected by Krishna into the womb of the material nature. They have to scroll up a little. They come out in different bodies according to their different fruitive activities. In all circumstances, the living entity is aloof from this material conditioned life. Raghavan, do you want to read? He's not ready. He's still munching.
It's okay. Let him honor son.
Yes. Read more, or you want to do somebody
Yes,
else?
to read a little more.
If we simply study our own bodies, we can understand how a living entity is always aloof from this bodily engagement. Not engagement, engagement. I don't even know if that's a word, but engagement. Okay, every action of the body is taking place by the interaction of the three modes of material nature. We can see at every moment many changes taking place in bodies, but the spirit soul is aloof from them, from all changes. One can neither create nor annihilate nor interfere with the actions of material nature. The living entity is therefore entrapped by the material body and is conditioned in three stages, namely while awake, asleep, and unconscious. Well, that pretty much covers it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Well,
yes.
The mind is acting through all three conditions of life. Okay. Wait, I want to read that again, right? The entity is therefore entrapped by the material body and is conditioned in three stages, namely while awake, asleep, and unconscious. The mind is acting through all three conditions of life. The living entity in his sleeping or dreaming condition sees something is real, and in his awake condition, he sees the same thing as unreal. It is concluded, therefore, that under certain circumstances, he accepts something as real, and under other circumstances, he accepts the very same thing as unreal. Wow, trippy, right?
Yeah.
These matters are the subject matter of study for the empiric philosopher in the Sankhya yogi. In order to come to the right conclusion, Sankhya yogis undergo severe austerities and penances. They practice control of the senses and renunciation.
I'll read, and if Raghavendu Prabhu is welcome to jump in anytime he likes.
Hey, Android 234 is back.
Yeah, but Android remains has taken Mount of Vrata. They don't speak. But I think it's Tarun Krishna. I remember him coming as Android before, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell if that's him. But if you'd like to reveal yourself, Android Prabhu, we'd like to know who you are. All right. All these different ways of determining the ultimate goal of life are compared to rivers. Krishna is the ocean. As the rivers flow down toward the ocean, all attempts for knowledge flow toward Krishna. After many, many births of endeavor, when one actually comes to Krishna, he attains the perfectional stage. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, all are pursuing the path of realizing me, but those who have adopted courses without any bhakti find their endeavor very troublesome. Klesho dikataraste sham. Krishna cannot be understood unless one comes to the point of bhakti. These paths are enunciated in the Gita. So that's what that diagram is on the right there. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. Those who are too addicted to fruitive activities are advised to perform actions which will bring them to bhakti. Those who are addicted to the frustration of empiric philosophy are also advised to realize bhakti. The karma yoga is different from ordinary karma, and jnana yoga is different from jnana. Ultimately, as stated by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyamam abhijananti, only through execution of devotional service can one understand Krishna. The professional stage of devotional service was achieved by the Gopis because they did not care to know anything but Krishna. It is confirmed in the Vedas, Yasmin eva vigyate sarvam eva vigyatam bhavanti. This means that simply by knowing Krishna, all other knowledge is automatically acquired. Nrihari Prabhu.
I have my mic muted. Krishna continued, transcendental knowledge of the Absolute is no longer necessary for you. You were accustomed to love me from the very beginning of your lives. Unquote. Knowledge of the Absolute Truth is specifically required for persons who want liberation from material existence. But one who has attained love for Krishna is already on the platform of liberation. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, anyone engaged in unalloyed devotional service is to be considered situated on the transcendental platform of liberation. The Gopis were not actually feeling any pangs of material existence, but they were feeling the separation of Krishna. Krishna therefore said, "My dear Gopis, in order to increase your super excellent love for me, I have purposely separated myself from you. I have done this so that you may be in constant meditation on me." The Gopis are in the perfectional stage of meditation. The yogis are generally more fond of meditation than the execute. Oh, you want to jump in, Prabhuji? You ready? Raghavindu.
Okay. Get it all. Yeah.
You're still muted.
Who's continuing?
We were gonna. Oh, he didn't finish this paragraph. Why
Okay,
don't you
so the
finish
Gopis,
this and then Raghavindu.
the Gopis are in the perfectional stage of meditation. The yogis are generally more fond of meditation than the execution of devotional service to the Lord, but they do not know that the perfectional stage of devotion
That's going to turn it off.
is the attainment of the perfection of yoga systems.
Go back on.
This constant meditation on Krishna by Gopis is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita to be the topmost yoga. Krishna knew very well the psychology of women. When a woman's beloved is away, she thinks of him meditatively, and he is present before her. Krishna wanted to teach through the behavior of the Gopis. One who is constantly entranced like the Gopis surely attains the lotus feet of Krishna.
Okay, Raghavendu Prabhu, it's your turn if you like.
They're not there? Oh, are they? Yeah.
You actually think they were hearing?
Okay, then it's Daneshwar if Raghavendu's not going to read.
Raghavendu's here,
Okay.
but it says you're starting to screen share. I don't know why it's not there. I can't see the writing or the art. So.
Does anybody else see the writing and the art?
You expand him.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, so if they can't read Prabhu, the Daneshwar Prabhu, please continue.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Lord Chaitanya taught people in general the method of Vipralambha, which is the method of rendering service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the feeling of separation. The 6 Goswamis also taught worship of Krishna in the feeling of gopis in separation. The prayers of Srinivasacharya about the Goswamis explain these matters very clearly. Srinivasacharya said that the Goswamis were always absorbed in the ocean of transcendental feelings in the mood of the Gopis. When they lived in Vrindavan, they were searching for Krishna, crying, "Where is Krishna? Where are the Gopis? Where are you, Srimati Radharani?" They never said, "We have now seen Radha and Krishna, and therefore our mission is fulfilled." Their mission remained always unfulfilled. They never met Radha and Krishna. At the time of the Rasa dance, those gopis who could not join the Rasa Leela with Krishna gave up their bodies simply by thinking of him. Absorption in Krishna consciousness by feeling separation is thus the quickest method for attainment of the lotus feet of Krishna. By the personal statement of Krishna, the gopis were convinced about the strength of feelings of separation. They were actually experiencing the supernatural method of Krishna worship and were much relieved and happy to understand it.
So here we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Govardhan, and the caption is Lord Gopal. So Lord Chaitanya wanted to see Lord Gopal, and Lord Gopal had been moved to the village of Gantuli Gram for safety because of the Mughals, due to a rumor of an imminent attack by a rampaging horde of Mohammedan Turk soldiers. So it was describing, the Gaur Govinda Maharaj was explaining that actually Lord Gopal wanted to see Lord Chaitanya. so he went to another place so that it would be easier for Lord Chaitanya to see him. It was mutual. Lord Chaitanya wanted to see him. Lord Gopal wanted to see Lord Chaitanya. So I thought this was a nice painting showing the mood of separation of Mahaprabhu.
Crimea River.
Good one. Has anyone been to Gantuli Gram? You're supposed to, the Gopal deities there.
So, but wait a minute. We saw Gopal deity in Udayapur. Yeah. So maybe that's the name of the actual village.
I don't know. Would require more research. Okay, is Raghavendra Prabhu ready to read now, or it's too difficult because of your screen?
Let's see if we can see the writing. Go ahead, Raghavendra. You want to try?
I can see it.
You have to move it around.
I don't know how to do that.
It's we're on my little phone. It's so hard.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't want to stress you. It's too difficult.
Go ahead. Listening.
Okay, that's great. Okay, who was the last to read?
I was.
Okay,
so Sudha Sindhu is next.
Yeah, Sudha Sindhu, that's right. And then Mrisangi, if you're able to read. I don't know, I can't tell.
They began to speak as follows. We have heard that King Kamsa, who was always a source of trouble for the Yadu dynasty, has now been killed. This is good news for us. We hope, therefore, that the members of the Yadu dynasty are very happy in the association of Krishna, who can fulfill all the desires of his devotees. My dear Uddhava, kindly let us know whether Krishna sometimes think of us while in the midst of highly enlightened society girls in Mathura. We know that the women and girls in Mathura are not village women. They are enlightened and beautiful. Their bashful smiling glances and other feminine features must be very pleasing to Krishna. We know very well that Krishna is always fond of the behavior of beautiful women. It seems, therefore, that he has been entrapped by the women of Mathura. My dear Uddhava, will you kindly let us know if Krishna sometimes remembers us while he is in the midst of other women?
Are you able to see that screen, Mrisangi, or not?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Another Gopi inquired?
I'll read. Another Gopi inquired, does he remember that right in the midst of Kumadini flowers and moonlight, when Vrindavan became exceedingly beautiful, Krishna was dancing with us, and the atmosphere was surcharged with the sound of footbells. We exchanged pleasing conversation then. Does he remember that particular night? We remember that night. We feel separation. Separation from Krishna makes us agitated, as if there were fire in our bodies. He proposed to come back to Vrindavan to extinguish the fire, just as a cloud appears in the sky to extinguish the forest fire by its downpour. Want me to read more? Small?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Oh, another gopi said, Krishna has killed his enemy and he has victoriously achieved the kingdom of Kamsa. Maybe he's married with the king's daughter by this time and living very happily among his kinsmen and friends. Therefore, why should he come to this village of Vrindavan?
Another gopi said, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, the husband of the goddess of fortune, and he is self-sufficient. He has no business either with us, the girls in the Vrindavan forest, or with the city girls in Mathura. He is the great supersoul. He has nothing to do with any of us, either here or there. Another gopi said, it is an unreasonable hope for us to expect Krishna to come back to Vrindavan. We should try instead to be happy in disappointment. Even Pingala, the great prostitute, said that disappointment is the greatest pleasure. We all know these things, but it is very difficult for us to give up the expectation of Krishna's coming back again. Who can forget a solitary conversation with Krishna, on whose breast the goddesses of fortune always remains, in spite of Krishna's not desiring her? My dear Uddhava, Vrindavan is the land of rivers, forests, and cows. Here the vibration of the flute is heard, and Krishna, along with his elder brother, Sri Balaram, enjoyed the atmosphere in our company. Thus, the environment of Vrindavan is constantly reminding us of Krishna and Balaram. The impression of his footprints is on the land of Vrindavan, which is the residential place of the goddesses of fortune. But such signs cannot help us to get Krishna. The gopis further expressed that Vrindavan was still full of all opulence and good fortune. There was no scarcity or want in Vrindavan as far as material necessities were concerned. But in spite of such opulence, they could not forget Krishna and Balaram. We are constantly remembering various attractive features of beautiful Krishna, his walking, his smiling, his joking words. We have all become lost by the dealings of Krishna, and it is impossible for us to forget him. We are always praying for him, exclaiming, Dear Lord, dear husband of the goddess of fortune, dear Lord of Vrindavan and deliverer of the distressed devotees, we are now fallen and merged into an ocean of distress. Please, therefore, come back again to Vrindavan and deliver us from this pitiable condition. Hari.
I was muted. Uddhava minutely studied the transcendental abnormal condition of the gopis in their separation from Krishna. And he thought it wise to repeat all the pastimes of Sri Krishna over and over again. Materialistic persons are always in a burning condition on account of the blazing fire of material miseries. The gopis also were burning in a transcendental blazing fire due to separation from Krishna. The blazing fire, which was exasperating the gopis, however, is different from the fire of the material world. The gopis constantly want the association of Krishna, whereas the materialistic person wants the advantage of material comforts. There's a little story about, never mind. It is stated by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that Krishna saved the cowherd boys from the blazing forest fire within a second, while their eyes were closed. Similarly, Uddhava advised the gopis that they could be saved from the fire of separation by closing their eyes and meditating on the activities of Krishna from the very beginning of their association with him. From the outside, the gopis could visualize all the pastimes of Krishna by hearing the descriptions of Uddhava, and from the inside, they couldn't remember those pastimes. From the instructions of Uddhava, the gopis could understand that Krishna was not separate from them. As they were constantly thinking of Krishna, Krishna was also thinking of them constantly while at Mathura. soak the pillows.
Baba Trini there?
Yes.
It's on
It is stated by,
Uddhava.
Uddhava's message and instructions saved the gopis from immediate death. And the gopis acknowledged the benediction from Uddhava. Uddhava practically acted as the preceptor spiritual master of the gopis, and they in return, they worshipped him as they would worship Krishna. It is recommended in the authoritative scriptures the spiritual master should be worshipped on the level of the Supreme Personality of Godhead because of his being his very confidential servitor. And it is accepted by great authorities that the spiritual master is the external manifestation of Krishna. The gopis were relieved from their transcendental burning condition by realizing that Krishna was with them. Internally, they remembered his association within their hearts, and externally, Uddhava helped them to appreciate Krishna by conclusive instructions.
Just 4 more slides to go, Dineshwar Prabhu.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described in the scriptures as Adhoksaja, which indicates that he is beyond the perception of all material senses. Although he is beyond the perception of the material senses, he is present in everyone's heart. At the same time, he is present everywhere by his all-pervasive feature of Brahman. All 3 transcendental features of the absolute truth, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Paramatma, the localized supersoul, and the all-pervasive Brahman, can be realized by studying the condition of the gopis in their meeting with Uddhava, as described by the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said by Srinivasacharya that the 6 Goswamis were always merged in the thoughts of the activities of the gopis. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also recommended the gopis' method of worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as super excellent. Srila Sukadeva Goswami has also recommended that anyone who hears from the right source about the dealings of the gopis with Krishna and who follows the instructions will be elevated to the topmost position of devotional service and will be able to give up the lust of material enjoyment.
You want to just finish this part?
Okay. All the gopis were solaced by the instruction of Uddhava, and they requested him to stay in Vrindavan for a few days more. Uddhava agreed to their proposal and stayed with them not only for a few days, but for a few months. He always kept them engaged in thinking of the transcendental message of Krishna and his pastimes, and the gopis were feeling as if they were experiencing direct association with Krishna. While Uddhava remained in Vrindavan, the inhabitants enjoyed his association. As they discussed the activities of Krishna, the days passed just like moments. Vrindavan's natural atmosphere, with the presence of the river Yamuna, its nice orchards of trees decorated with various fruits, Govardhan Hill, caves, blossoming flowers, all combined to inspire Uddhava to narrate Krishna's pastimes. The inhabitants enjoyed Uddhava's association in the same way as they enjoyed the association of Krishna.
Should I send you?
Uddhava was attracted by the attitude of the gopis because they were completely attached to Krishna. And Uddhava was inspired by the gopis' anxiety for Krishna. He began to offer them his respectful obeisances and composed songs in praise of their transcendental qualities as follows. Among all the living entities who have accepted the human form of life, the gopis are super excellently successful in their mission. Their thought is truly absorbed in the lotus feet of Krishna. Great sages and saintly persons are also trying to be absorbed in meditation upon the lotus feet of Krishna, who is Mukunda himself, the giver of liberation. But the gopis, having lovingly accepted the Lord, are automatically accustomed to this habit. They do not depend on any yogic practice. The conclusion is that one who has attained the Gopis condition of life does not have to take birth as Lord Brahma or be born in a Brahmana family or be initiated as a Brahmana.
Okay. Isn't that a beautiful painting? Who did that one? Anyone know? Baba Trini, do you know? Hari?
Painting, I think.
Oh no, I don't know who did that one. I was wondering myself.
I love it.
It's so sweet.
And they're all just perfect age, just like
Yes, they're all very
young girls.
Whose turn is it now?
yours.
It's
Rasanga's.
She's able to speak.
Can I ask a question? It's almost 6:30. Like, are you just going to try to finish the section and then no discussion because there won't be time? But
We can save the other 3 slides for next time if you like.
We should.
There's 2 pages, basically.
Okay, you want to save that for next time and have some discussion?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. I just know that it's rich when people have
Yes,
things to share.
good
I
idea,
don't-
Tangi. Go ahead. You have something you'd like to
I
say?
don't really have anything, but I just thought maybe other people did, and otherwise we can continue to read.
Well, I'd
Why
like
don't we
to hear
ask? Does
something.
anybody have a story or something to share?
I'd like to hear something from other people.
Yeah.
Dineshwar Prabhu, do you have something you'd like to share?
No, this is above my pay grade.
That's a good answer. But earlier, Nirhari Prabhu said he had a story, but he
wanted to keep reading.
That's amazing. We did a lot of reading tonight, like with almost no discussion. I think it's really great.
Because it was so deep and entrancing. We didn't want to quit reading.
We can continue. Go ahead if you want to just continue reading.
No, but you made a good point.
It's a little short one.
Yeah,
it's a little short one about fire separation.
Okay.
And Prabhupada mentioned Srinivasacharya's song, the 6 Goswamis. As we know, the 6 Goswamis were assigned different activities to do in Vrindavan. Rup Sanatan majorly to discover the places and write books on devotional service. But the assignment to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was to read and sing Srimad Bhagavatam. And so he would give classes in Vrindavan. There were, this is all coming from the Vrindavan Institute. They have 32,000 Shastras to be yet translated. So our godbrother Indradyumna Swami, he's got some scholars translating. So he said at one point, there was an asana next to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and they all wonder what was there. But one night, Rupa Goswami came and sat next to him, and he sat erect and nothing, no movement, nothing. So much so, and this person was noticing that everybody else were all crying rivers of tears. And hearing Raghunath, I can imagine hearing a Manjari describing what she's seen now is in the form of Raghunath Bhatta. So this man gets concerned and he thinks, is he alive? Or so he goes and puts the cotton under the nose of Rupa Goswami, and nothing's happening. So he's a little concerned. And then all of a sudden, when the lecture, the recitation is over, Rupa Goswami takes a breath out and he burns the cotton. This man has to let go of the cotton. So much heat came from this separation. So at one point he was criticizing, who's this man? Everybody else, their hearts are melted. What's happening with him? Fire separation.
Wow.
Who did the fire come from? Raghunath Bhatta or
Rupa Goswami?
Rupa Goswami. He sat to listen to Raghunath Bhatta reciting Srimad Bhagavatam.
Right.
And he didn't move the entire time. Okay. No tears flowing, nothing.
Everyone else was crying tears and
Okay, I just got a little distracted because should have Sindhu said she was going. I don't doubt the authenticity of this story, but I'd love to go and read it myself. Do you have any idea
You
where?
can't, it's in the Vrindavan
All right, go to
Institute.
Vrindavan
Okay.
or
They
contact
just were
Indradumna
given
Swami.
to, it was just given
If you don't
to
believe me, you know,
ISKCON.
I don't have a quote.
And there's
I will
over,
read you. It's not
How
just
many-
because I ask if something's where can I find it doesn't mean.
Why I'm talking at the same time.
no,
All right.
that's right.
Yeah, please,
I'm
the
sorry.
three, all of us.
Sorry, I got excited. You didn't hear what he said. He said Indradumna Swami at the Vrindavan
Yes,
Institute.
yes, he's with Hari Prasad and
Right.
and yeah.
They just opened it up and there are how many scriptures and letters
32,000.
that we've never had access
I
to
mean,
before.
there is so much. I mean, we can spend the whole class just, I mean, there is a series of nine lectures by Indradumna Swami just revealing the appearance of Govindaji, what happens with Govindaji.
I've seen some of them, yes.
Oh
okay.
my God, you have to hear this. All of them, and believe me, it's just like, it will complete the picture of what historically happened.
There are even
Thank you.
letters handwritten by Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, it's just mind blowing. And
Prabhupada-
How do they
Prabhupada would love
they
to
have
see-
letters handwritten by Lord Chaitanya?
yes, there's correspondence between Rupa Goswami and Lord Chaitanya. At one point, he has worshipped Govindaji. You know, let's make it short. He's worshiping Govindaji in a very simple manner, and he calls it Prakrat, the investiture of nature. So he has crowns of mukuts of carved tulsi and peacock feathers and leaves and flowers from Vrindavan. All the forest. Imagine 500 years ago, we can't even imagine what Vrindavan must have looked like. And so all the flowers, everything was there. And so he decorated his deity that way. But so some time goes by, and then Rupa Goswami starts thinking, oh, my mission is not, I'm not able to complete what Lord Chaitanya is asking me. I had to translate, to find places and like that. So he's telling Lord Chaitanya that he needs help. You know, he has to worship. So there is a beautiful story. Kashishvar is asked by Lord Chaitanya, his intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya. Kashishvar is asked to go to Vrindavan and be the first pujari, official pujari of Govindaji.
So that Rupa Goswami can continue in discovering places of pilgrimage.
So
like
continues. So Kashishvar is just about to faint. Lord, you asking me to leave you? How can I do that? So Lord Chaitanya said, wait. He went to the temple, Lord Chaitanya of Jagannath, and took a deity of, who do you think? Gaur Govinda. This deity brought it to Kashishvar and says, this is me. Now you go, you worship me. And so Kashishvar brought the style of worship of South India or Puri to Vrindavan, becoming the first official pujari of the Govindaji temple. And the story,
Hari, you have such a wonderful memory for all this.
Yeah.
It's really nice to hear this. Thank you.
It's all thanks to, listening to Indradumna Swami. But he's that when he starts describing this, you can see almost satvikas, like transformation in his body. He's just there, and he's like very kshatriya spirit, So there are moments there like really, after 75 years, actually the whole land there was donated for the temple by Emperor Akbar, and his first commander was a king. Man Singh. Man Singh was a famous general, and he sent to Bengal to quench a rebellion by Akbar, Emperor Akbar. And so before he leaves, he goes to Vrindavan and prays to Govindaji, who was installed already. There was a rich merchant that made a smaller temple than the one that we see now, stone temple, beautiful. And so Man Singh, the Raj Man Singh, he goes and prays to Govindaji, said, if you please, if I'm successful, I'll come by and build you a temple.
Magnificent.
A magnificent temple. And so he goes, he's successful, and then comes back. But he doesn't want to tell anybody anything. But then he comes back and he tells Rupa Goswami about it. And Rupa Goswami says, no, We have a temple already. It's beautiful. There's no need.
We don't want to
my Lord,
destroy the trees.
yeah, we don't want to. There's full of kalpavrikshas for it. You know, what are you gonna do? I mean, they say, but man sing is kshatriya. Say, I promise the Lord, I have to fulfill this. So he gets the money and the property donated by Emperor Akbar. And there is a connection there because that, you know where Govindaji temple is? If you've been in Vrindavan, is uphill. That's a hill, the Tila. And guess what? That hill was a place where Kurma rested after he's done the pastime of churning.
Really?
Wow.
He came to Vrindavan, to that hill. He rested on that hill. And Man Singh descended from all lines of Kshatriyas that were worshipping. It's just like really mind-blowing. It goes beyond.
They worship Kurma.
They worship Kurma. And so the place is then chosen, and Emperor Akbar pays for the whole thing. Wow. And so when it comes time, Rupa Goswami, the temple, he never saw the temple finished. But Jiva Goswami was there. And he composes, it's called the Mandir Ashtakam. And this Ashtakam is in the Institute of Vrindavan now. It has just been translated. And
is that by Jiva?
By Jiva Goswami. And he alludes to Emperor Akbar and to Man Singh, the king.
In his Ashtakam.
And so the Asher, a 75-year period or 80-year period where the worship of Govindaji was most opulent. Imagine all the royalty of Rajasthan was donating, bringing jewels, giving the most fine dresses, the best musicians, the best poets, everything who was the best was there in that temple of Govindaji. And so as you know, when you come in, if you look, there's floors and subfloors. And there's subfloors, there were recitals, there were poets singing. Dramas,
musical performances.
And that was a spot where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami would come and recite Chaitanya Charitamrita every night. Oh, imagine being there. So that's one thing, very thing that Sri Narayana Maharaj says, you follow Sadguru, and we'll go to another Brahmanda. So it's like Back to the Future kind of a deal. So where we go back, until we get to be born at the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Wow. Wow. My mind was blown when I first walked into that Radha Govinda temple, and there's this gigantic lotus made out of marble that looks like it weighs tons, and it's hanging from the ceiling. And I was like, how did they do that?
Yeah, that is mentioned in documents and like that. And
really?
Yes. And also the name of the architect and the sign is carved on stone in the back part of the temple. Indradina Swami has done quite an exploration of Vrindavan. He also,
and I love the way he's in the series. He starts speaking about someone and he goes, and here is another hero, another one of our heroes.
Where is that on recorded
on
somewhere or
on YouTube?
If you go to YouTube and try to find Indradina Swami's, find the history of Govindaji. I tell you, it's a must read for all devotees. Really,
one thing he left out that's really nectar is Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. He recited the Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 different ragas. I don't know how
or tunes. He was
tunes. Yeah, he had 4. So he didn't just say it the same way all the time. He had different. I don't know when he used what melodies, but he had at least 4 different ragas.
So the usher, with the help of the royalty of Rajasthan, the help of Akbar the emperor, Man Singh the general that was from Rajasthan to a Raja, the usher an era of about 80 years where the worship was most gorgeous. Govindaji became even more and more famous all throughout the land, and until the dark time comes with Aurangzeb, the great-grandson of Akbar, takes over. And it says it was a day of Ekadashi when the troops were sent from Mathura. He put 2/3 of his troops. Now, this is the emperor of a vast territory, and 2/3 of his army, he's obsessed with destroying Govindaji. And for 50 years, he chases all over the place. He tries to destroy them.
All the
So-
saviks of the temple tried to prevent the temple from being destroyed, and they were killed.
Yeah, the cries all over. They all embraced the temple, and they were sacrificed. They were killed.
But
So there is a must read. I think if you go there to YouTube, and you'll find, and it just, I tell you, will inspire me actually to.
Oh, Daneshwara.
Oh, Daneshwar Prabhuji, Haribo.
Oh, he's going now, is he?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't hear because the bandwidth was too less, so I turned off my video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking that Akbar, I mean, in one sense, Akbar is like a wonderful person to glorify to some Muslims, maybe not all, because he's like the ideal Muslim because he gave so much facility to the worship of Radha. We don't want to like immortalize Aurangzeb. I remember hearing Prabhupada in 1966 talking in New York City about how Aurangzeb was a demon.
Yes.
And that there's a whole story where Aurangzeb is there, but there's another person in the history of Aurangzeb who's actually the hero, but I forget what Prabhupada said about that.
Oh, Shiva Ram is the pujari at that time, and of the temple, and he's super devotee and super clever. So they hide Govindaji in a lake, and Aurangzeb, imagine 2/3 of the troops are combing the whole place, trying to find the deities, destroying, unearthing all the samadhis and dragging their bodies of the sadhus through the city. It's horrible.
But
it's horrible.
something stopped him, but I don't remember what.
Yeah. So there is after he starts destroying the temple, he can only do few floors, and then he has to stop. There is a curse going on. There's something that he can't do. So at one time, he gets a swarm of maybe 1,000 bees. They stung him all over, and he's in total agony. And then there's a letter the doctor's writing. This is all documented about, if you just stop what you're doing, maybe perhaps, it'll be better for you, to do such things. So he stopped, he stopped. Still, he continued to look for
the deities, but he stopped trying to destroy the temple.
Especially Govindaji.
But he was
so
on.
Is that like Kamsa's thinking of Krishna? I mean, he's like, super obsessed with Govindaji, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's very similar.
Right. 24/7, he's like thinking, how am I going to find it? 50 years, imagine that. 50 years
had a temple.
His demise.
He had a temple he had a palace, or his palace headquarters were in Mathura. And at night, he could see this light from the top of Govindaji's temple. And it made him so angry. And he was so angry that his grandfather, Akbar, was an infidel and had funded this temple. And not only that, one of the queens of Akbar, not the one that's famous, who was a devotee before she married him. This one was Jodha Akbar. She's very famous, but this queen was a Muslim, and she was definitely not a devotee. And one day she was riding through Vrindavan, and she heard the bells of Govindaji's temple, and she went there, and she went in, and she fell in love with Govinda.
She got stunned. She
was
spot
stunned
where
for hours.
when she was able to fix her eyes on the face of Govindaji, she stood in that spot for 6 hours. All the students were asking her.
No wonder her husband was so angry.
Your husband.
No, that was
Akbar.
Akbar. Akbar was.
So she said, I will never leave this place. And she was a great poet and singer. So that's how she entered Samadhi, actually, at the end of her life. And the one recitation
while she was singing
to Govindaji, she left her body.
Wow.
And they, in the Institute, they have her writings in her songs.
That's the wife of Akbar.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the wives.
So this made Aurangzeb furious, that
not just that he thought that now Akbar had deviated from the true faith, and so he was going to do everything possible to smash any memory, not just Akbar, but Akbar's father or grandfather, they had given all the land of Vrindavan for the 500 cows. That's one thing Rupa did. It's documented too, the cows of
Oh,
Rupa
that's what
Goswami.
we learned also from there.
We learned that he, with the little money he saved, because Lord Chaitanya said, oh, there'll be so many sadhus, poor sadhus, Vaishnavas, that will come from Bengal. They have nothing. Take care of them. He asked that to Sanatana Goswami and to Rupa. So Rupa purchased 500 cows.
Oh.
If you can, I can imagine now 500 cows, how you feed them.
We can't even
And
take care of two.
From Delhi, the father or grandfather of Akbar, he sent a mandate that Rupa Goswami can take the cows anywhere in that area. All Braj would be his, but for his cows to pasture. So one day, Rupa is missing so much. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's in Vinda. Vinda means meditation, and he sits behind it underneath a tree and composes Chaitanya Ashtakam. While he's doing this, the cowherd boy comes and he says, Lord, there is a cow of yours that I had to tell you this, but for years she's been emptying her milk bags in this hill. You had to come and see. There's something there. So that's the big. So Vinda is interrupted, his meditation interrupted by go Vinda. Because he said, how am I going to call this? What am I going to call this deity? And so
that's where Govinda deity was.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 5 stories. I didn't know this. This also documented. And the Rimnasa was it. Govindaji was not just below a little bit. It was 5 stories below ground. And
really?
So, yeah,
wow.
All the villagers, everybody. I mean,
he was worshipped 5 stories down below because
he was buried.
He was buried. And he was.
And that cow was going every day and emptying her milk bags over the spot where Govinda was.
And this deity was carved by the grandson of Sri Krishna. Brajabanu, means thunderbolt.
Yeah, the same one that brought the Varaha.
Exactly.
I'm curious, is there any
Rajanath, maybe?
Brajanaba.
Yeah.
And so he, under the direction, under the direction of Uttara, the mother of Parikshit, he carved this deity. Govindaji says how he manifested.
Because she had seen.
So I've got a question. Is there anywhere any artist conception of the full Govindaji temple before it was all dismantled?
I just wonder, maybe there is, because the art, poetry, writings, Akbar had a library just for women. He wanted them educated as much as men. The arts, the letters, the writing, all that was there. It was quite an amazing empire. And with Govindaji and the 6 Goswamis at the center of all this. So I'm sure there's plenty of
Prabhu, I think there's a devotee named Sulabh Doyle in Australia, and he's into doing a lot of that kind of research. I could ask him. I'll ask him.
Oh, that'd be wonderful to see because it's so amazing just as it is, And there's 3 more or 4 more stories that were
probably
taken down?
4 to 5. There were
4 to 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I'm looking around, I'm going, okay, where'd all that stone go? Because that must have been a huge amount of stone.
They used it. Also, unfortunately, the temple of Govindaji, the first temple stone, was purchased by this man.
Recently.
Maybe recently, maybe 20, 30 years
ago
or so.
It just happened that he was
not that recent.
Oh.
Anyhow, he purchased the land and took all the stones to build a school or something like that. And he was put in jail. Actually, he's still in jail for doing such a thing. But we lost an historical site. I mean, that I'm not sure. Like, that will be interesting to research. I mean, there's so much documentation there. They need help. They want to. The new management of the institute, Vrindavan Institute, wants to open up the whole library to be, because they feel that those books were written to be published and to be read. Yeah.
But
He's got to be so careful though to protect everything there. It's such a treasure, and there's so many. You know, the demons are very powerful now. You know, they're destroying everything, and you know they could very easily go there. You know, incognito, and you know.
Yeah. So I'm please let's don't think that way. But yeah, we were just telling Daneshwar Prabhu that we got the news from Puri that Modi they're authorized the destruction of the temple, the Shankarite temple, Ramanuja temple. I'm sorry, 700-year-old, 800-year-old temple across from Lord Jagannath's temple, destroyed because they want to open up another wide band, 75 yards wide, meters. All around. Yeah, yards, meters, very close. Oh, okay, 75 meters. To be precise, all around
75 meters, not feet. 75
not
meters.
Feet, 75 meters, like one block, almost one block wide, with widening the Grand Road and making. They said, "Oh, we're doing this because of terrorism. They don't want attacks," and it sounds to me more like a big demon behind. You know, destroy the Brahman. Go Brahmana Hitayacha. That's how you destroy. You know, culture, attack the Brahman, attack the
right. Cow. I'm surprised that the king of Puri would allow that.
Me too, but
that's what I said.
He has no real, you know, at the level of Modi, he has no.
He has no political.
And power. I think there's been resolution.
Yeah, but why is Modi involved? I mean, you know, why is he sticking?
Yeah. Huh? Because government. One thing is that the governments of India, at one point, were the only ones because of everything was in ruin. Many generations have gone by or something that people weren't really taking care of the temple, so the government assumed that. So I suppose.
But you know, isn't Modi connected with BJP, and aren't they supposed to like to be protecting the Hindu temples? That's you know, here he is and destroying one.
Yeah, precisely my question too. I mean, I can't believe it, but I don't know who's. You know, as we know, Rakshasas, I should say, they're in power. They're beyond the control of Modi, and well, we can see, you know, how. But yeah, so while there is time, Indradubna Swami is asking, you know, to put resources towards maintaining these documents until they're translated. You know, they're copied.
Well, they're also preserving them. He said some of them are like
you can't
hard to touch them.
So they're doing the same thing as who has that. The same kind of activity in Calcutta.
Sorry. Yeah, they're doing fantastic work.
Yeah, so they're microfiche. They're photographing everything and preserving it that way.
Right.
Yes.
They're actually trying to preserve the actual documents also, but some of them they'll have to microfilm before they touch them.
Take, you know, over documentation.
Yeah, some of them they won't be able to save.
Well, that's interesting because you know that institute's been there, you know, since we've been going to Vrindavan.
Over 500 years.
I don't know. Yeah, somehow or other.
So how is it that they? Yeah, because I remember from long ago hearing that it was not open, you know, for
management.
There's new management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's the good and the bad happening.
Simultaneously.
It's a material world, but you know, you know, it's just the cooperation of all the people of Vrindavan, the stealthness, the valor of all these heroes, you know, that he tells you some of, you know, he reads, you know, the documents, and it's just inspiring. You will love this, Gora, and all the.
I heard a couple of parts of it, but I forgot that he actually continued on. I just heard the first 1 or 2 parts.
There's 9 to 10 episodes.
Okay. And Nanda Patni was eating them up. She was loving them.
I tell you.
Where is Nanda Patni?
I don't know.
I haven't seen her in a while.
I'll ask. So for Friday, I've still got the commentaries on Radhakund lined up by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Radha Raman Goswami from Gopal Bhatta's Radha Raman Mahat, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary, and Srila Narayan Maharaj's commentary, so that we can go back to the beginning of Nectar Instruction now that we're focused on what the goal is. So Friday.
I'm very happy to see that we're doing this.
Yeah, looking forward to meeting with you.
I'm taking prasadam, but I just wanted to thank you so much. Anything that can help us to take this, make it more real, give our philosophy more substance, you know?
Yeah.
This is so high, and how does it relate here? And like listening to the offerings over the past 3 days of Srila Narayan Maharaj and Vamana Maharaj, I was so touched by the devotees' hearts, how there were tears. The grown men were crying out of such appreciation and love for Gurudev and for Vamana Maharaj as well, you know, for their humanity, their kindness, their playfulness. You know what I mean? They're being really people. Like many of us who didn't have a lot of personal association don't know that. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. I love what Bhagavad Maharaj said. They said all this was based always in love. Love is the common denominator for their relationships to work. So there was always love and forgiveness, you know. And there's a beautiful letter we were reading of Vaman Maharaj. He says how to diffuse confrontations and like that, and which they stay always there in the full seal.
I'd like to hear that.
I have to find the quote. I don't want to just, tell you, but basically was that forgive and forget.
Well, there's a new book that came out of 125 letters from Vaman Maharaj. It's a book that's being published. A lot of the letters are to Umadidi.
I was just going to say,
Umadidi is in ICU.
Is she still in ICU?
Yeah.
But she's better. She's better. Yeah. But there's such a personal touch, and that I need that myself. So thank you for.
Yeah, I love that the last movie that Yaduvar and Vishaka made, where they let Prabhupada speak, and there is a young man asking Srila Prabhupada, who is Krishna? And Prabhupada said, first, he's an historical personage. And I loved it, he's a supreme personality, but he's an historical, it did happen. He appeared 5,000 years ago there, and then goes on. And so this, like you said, to have pin dates and see what, I always wonder, there was like a gap. What happened really with the 6 Goswamis? What was it, we're just like under the tree and like that, but look at,
it sounds a little bizarre. It sounds to the rational Western mind very bizarre. But when you learn about them and where they came from, how they interacted, what they did, it makes them more real, makes them more come to life as real people.
And among the Muslim world, Rupa and Sanatan, as their former employee, they were famous because they were so intelligent, so brilliant. They had, helped the Shah and, the king of Bengal. And so rumors, news travel across India who these people were. And now they're renounced. So they all pay attention to. So it's wonderful that how they're related to how the love they were.
I just thought of something that recently I just learned that the worship of Radharani with Krishna was introduced by Nityananda's wife, Janava.
Oh, really? I think I heard that before.
So up until after Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda left, there was no worship of Radha Krishna on the altar.
Wasn't Madhavacharya, or was it? Didn't he start bringing understanding of Radharani?
Not that I know.
Yes, Radha Govindaji, I think.
Madhavacharya.
Madhavacharya.
Is that the spiritual master of Ishvara?
Oh, you're talking about Madhavendra Puri.
Madhavendra Puri.
Yeah.
Yes.
He didn't have a deity of Radharani.
No, he didn't have deity, but he was beginning to teach her that understanding of Radha Krishna worship, right?
Yes, he's the budding of the Ras of Madhurya Ras.
Right.
Bud of Madhurya Ras.
Yeah.
And he, of course, he.
But then it was Janava who actually established the deity worship. Huh?
Although apparently, I mean, when in the letters Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes to the subsequent Rajas because now the deities they were moved, and the Rajas built, actually Jaipur was built for the deities of community. All the town all around was like copying the forest, doing gods, doing different, copying Vrindavan. That's what they wanted to bring. That's what they brought, the deities.
Oh, really? So is there a kind of a Shamakund and Radhakund there in Jaipur?
Yes, they probably so. I know that they did the replica of Vrindavan, and also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and some of our saints in our line, they can correct. They gave the king the right. He had the right to keep the deity in his own private quarters. So he had Radha Krishna worship, and until the Brahmins they took Radharani, that went to the king's house. Remember that episode where then we have Govinda Vasya as a natural commentary, and we have Baladev Vidabhushana Goswami writing his commentary and bringing back Radharani to the altar.
Thank you.
Wow. Thanks for the history lesson. That was really good.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I all due to my god brother, and he's just, I mean, I make calls to Puri, to the disciple of Bhakti-Vibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj, because he's the #2 scholar in Sanskrit in the world. And I asked him, and he's a speed reader. Oh my God. You remember I was telling you about 11 commentaries of Srimad Bhagavatam in Sanskrit? One by Vishwanath Chakravarti. He gave us a list. Bhatrini wrote, now she went to do something, that he studied them all. You should see, I mean, every time we do a video conference, he's got less and less room. His room is just books, all Vaishnava books, all commentaries and that. So he said, I'll help you, whatever you need. So I need to connect them. I don't know. I mean, we have to, maybe there'll be some barriers. I hope not, because, the ISKCON, not ISKCON, Gaudiya Math, and all that stuff. That's just politics. I think we need to set that aside, and in the name of the sixth culture, bring in this history, so needed. Very important for the West to know who these characters were.
Characters.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, that just sounded
These characters.
Okay.
That's one way of saying it.
I guess, yeah.
I'm gonna go. Thank you so much.
I'll say my obeisances to everyone. Okay.
I look forward to seeing you again Friday.
See you Friday. Panchakalpa, Rubius,
Thank you for your association.
Thank you.